The Frame Center Podcast.
All right, so welcome to the Frame Center Podcast. Today we got a new one. We've taken the show on the road. I'm excited about this. Hopefully will be something we continue. Today we're at Kjeld Mahoney's studio down in Kennedy's. Does the studio have a name that you go by?
Actually, that's a good way to start off. It was for years since we opened Kjeld Mahoney Photography Gallery. But now that we're having other artists in here, it's kind of weird. It was weird for me to have artists in and then post them from my Facebook page saying Kjeld Mahoney Photography. It just didn't feel right. I didn't want to undermine the artist's name or anything. So just recently, we are going to launch a new name for the gallery. I'm keeping my name, but the gallery space itself is Afterglow.
Is it on the website already?
Yeah,
okay.
I worked on the logo and put the logo up and mentioned that the gallery, we don't have any signage in it or anything, but that's the new gallery name, Afterglow Fine Art.
Nice.
Yeah.
We were walking around before, and we got some artwork that we recognize. We got some.
I see a couple that I remember framing for a little holiday show we had over there.
Yes. 2 metal prints,
Yeah.
You got some Becky O'Toole's pieces.
Jen Kelly, Jenna Reedy.
You had any Cindy stuff too, or just Jenna's?
We did a wildlife show not too long ago, last year, I think, and we had a couple of Cindy's pieces in here. These 2 sort of black walls.
So you working with just a select group of artists, or you?
No, I'll work like just today. Literally today, right before you came, a friend of mine on Facebook, AJ Pasella, walked in and he's like, "This is what I love about artists. I love the hustle." Some people will get emails. Would you be interested in taking a look at my work? But if somebody takes the time to come to the gallery and ask, "Oh, I have a piece in the car. Can I show it to you?" Yep. And I'm like, "Yeah, this is an old school way of kind of getting the word out."
The old wheel and deal, yeah.
Exactly. He brought his piece in. I'm like, "Love it. Let's try it." No, I don't discriminate at all, really, unless somebody doesn't like me or we've come to blows. But no, if it doesn't compete, it's hard once you get a bunch of artists in to find other art that kind of that doesn't compete with individual artists in here.
Yeah.
Not too similar.
You're not thinking of bringing any other photographers in.
AJ's a photographer. I'm like, okay, I don't have that photo, but it's a nice shot. But if it's not a similar style to mine, if somebody doesn't bring photos that I've taken already from the same shot,
your own,
then I'll definitely entertain that thought.
Well, it's not an inch of wasted space in the walls, and it's filled up with
This is a good time to have a podcast here because it's full.
Yeah, it's a nice mixture of everything.
Everything kind of complements each other, I think.
Yes, nicely. That was the goal. Have a bunch of artists in here, but have it all sort of complementary.
Is that one of Jen's pieces over there too?
That is, under the whale tail. Deanna Schickel's whale tail is Jen Kelly's. And I met her, photographing her for South Shore Home Life and Style magazine. I did a write-up on her artwork.
You doing a lot of work for them?
Yes, I do a lot of shoots. I was going to have one today for another gallery in Cohasset, but the gallery's waiting on a sign. So the photo shoot got postponed.
Yeah.
That was our in.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
You weren't booked.
No, I said, we're doing a podcast. Podcast comes first.
The stuff illustration that you had a whale above that tail, is that?
That's a wood carving. Kurt, he's out of Scituate. He's got some stuff at Expressions over in Scituate, but he asked me, that's what I love about the artist. He came in and he said, "What are you looking for? What kind of stuff?" And I said, "Can you do a whale?" And he said, "Sure." And he cranked it out and there it is up on the wall. I want to sell it. I wish it wasn't on the wall.
Yeah.
I wish the gallery was empty because that would mean everything's sold.
And more could come in.
Yeah, exactly.
You said you did a wildlife show that Cindy was a part of. You doing themed shows? Or you just kind of winging it? Or you got a schedule out?
No, nothing yet. I had all that in the works. We moved here 4 years ago, and then 8 months in, COVID hit. That's not part of the plan.
Yeah.
When I moved here from the harbor, I'm like, bigger shows, bigger classes, more people, everybody crowded in, and then COVID hit, and that's like, that's not what we're talking about. So we're, I think, fully out of it now, right?
Yeah.
Can we say that? I had some shows lined up. I had some ideas for shows, and then we just had to put it on hold. I think we're back at it this summer and spring. I think the next show I want to have is a botanical themed show.
Yep.
At St. Kennedy's.
Absolutely.
And
late
a lot
spring,
of artists.
summer, that kind of time.
Yeah, exactly.
I imagine this is going to be a great spot for a reception at night. Doors open, nice weather. Plenty of parking.
The 2 shows that we did a show with Becky. The weather was perfect. It was beautiful out. And we had all the doors open. People were outside, out back playing cornhole. Rivershed did the catering. It was just awesome.
Yeah. Plenty of spaces to stop in.
Especially after hours.
Pop in here, stop and grab dinner or something.
Yeah. On your way to Road or on your way to Oro.
Yeah.
I think a botanical show would do good though, right next to our garden center. You know, you've got people already coming in for floral and garden type theme pieces. Stop in and get one that lasts on the wall forever.
I'm not a big botanical guy. I mean, I shot a lot of stuff here at Kennedy's for them, so I have a lot of material to work with. But I know a lot of the artists that I've worked with before have a lot of botanical themed artwork.
Well, some naturescapes, even like that one that you've got that long piece over there with the stone at the ocean, like something along those lines.
Doesn't have to be screaming features and
botanical. Things like exactly.
If it's got a flower in it somewhere.
Right? Postal
qualifies as a botanical.
Exactly. Yeah, there's a dandelion on your grass.
There's some tall seagrass on the edge of the coast of this.
Can't you see?
It's right there. No, I mean, that would be a great show. Because that's when all the artists are actually getting ready for their spring and summer shows too.
Right.
So they'll have pieces that they've been making up to have ready for something like that.
One of the things is I'm not a big planner and I'm kind of last minute. Talk to my wife and daughter about that. It's hard for artists to be ready for shows last minute.
We're spontaneous.
Exactly.
You did that spark of influence that'll hit you at the most random time.
Exactly.
And, you've been bed 3 a.m. and it's like, I could do a botanical show with that.
What? Why aren't I sleeping?
Yeah.
And then you ask, I'm going to have a show in 2 weeks. And then most artists maybe have some inventory, but it's not the stuff that is up to snuff or hasn't sold. Or
that's what happened during the holiday one. We had a kind of as a last minute idea for the holiday show that you came into those 2 pieces in for. And we didn't quite have everything all planned. We knew what artists we wanted. We knew what certain people we wanted, but the timing was a little last minute. So I have a feeling next year when we go to do it, we'll start it and, get the notes out in September.
Yes. And the 2 pieces that I entered were ones that I just happened to have.
They looked great. And they were getting lots of compliments on it. It's just people didn't know enough about it because we didn't have enough stuff out for it at the time to let people know. And this year we can get stuff out. We'll get a little A-frame sign out front next year, get it up on the road so people can
social
say
media blitz.
Exactly. And then that'll be the start. But you learn as you go. The first year is always the starter to feel out how you want to go. And then the next year is always the bigger kickoff.
Exactly.
So,
then the next thing 10 shows in, you're like, I'm bored.
We need something new. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's why we always bring out something new at the store. We're always trying something new. That's why this became part of our repertoire.
Right? Here we are on the road.
Yeah. Exactly.
Who knew 10 years ago that we'd be doing a podcast about framing?
You're teaching classes?
Yeah. Thanks for that reminder, Dave. Classes will be starting up in April. So one of the goals here too, having the galleries. We were in Situate Harbor and the space, it was a cool sort of like octagonal shaped space, not sort of wide walls. It wasn't conducive to classes or large prints. So moving here, classes, we can walk around Kennedy and take pictures.
Yeah.
In the harbor, it was like parking was an issue. Everybody can park out front if we do it late in the evening. Classes will be starting up in April.
And then you've been teaching always. You mastered it and then you started teaching it.
Exactly. In the harbor, when we opened up in 2008, we were giving classes. We had a space upstairs, just an empty room that I was renting out. It was a little weird because it was just an empty room. It didn't feel like if we do classes here, you're surrounded by the artwork. People can look around.
Inspiration,
and go,
colors.
Or I can talk about a shot, how I got it, if it's something that somebody asked a question about.
Yeah.
So it's much more interactive.
Yeah.
Slideshow on the TV. And I just didn't have the space for it in the harbor.
And you still shooting weddings still?
No.
Don't tell me the last one that you did was my friend Robbie Taylor's wedding.
Oh, God.
After that one, you decided...
Were you at that one?
No, I wasn't there, but I saw the pictures.
That was bonkers. I have a story about that one. Oh, my God. Huge hockey crowd.
Yeah.
Christine, that was insane. I'm like, I knew this was going to be insane because it was all hockey players.
I didn't know if that was going to turn you off from shooting.
No. I wish they were all like that, except for this one moment.
That's what broke them.
They brought in like a Stanley Cup that was like a plastic blown up Stanley Cup. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. But I was photographing the rings. Like I have a macro lens. I asked to borrow the rings to take some detailed macro shots. I always ask. I've never had anybody say no, so we take them off.
Yeah.
Somebody came in with like a WWF wrestling belt around their waist, and like when they got announced in, and I borrowed the belt and I put the rings on the belt. I could probably pull it up, but here I am with the macro lens, like right down on the rings on the belt, and one guy, I think he was in the wedding party, loaded, comes over as I'm shooting, grabs the belt. And the
rings were on it.
Christine's giant diamond. There's 3 rings on it. They went flying, and right underneath where I was shooting the table, there was like a vent.
Oh, jeez.
Like an air conditioning vent. I'm watching these things go bing, bing, bing. He took it and ripped it, and the rings went everywhere. And I'm like, dude, I think I literally have a blurry picture of the thing being swiped away, and the rings. Thank God those rings did not go down.
Oh my
into
God,
the vent.
yeah. It's like that pulling the tablecloth out from underneath
Exactly, and it didn't work. But we found the rings. They still have them. So I was like, oh my God.
That didn't happen in a lot of weddings you shot?
No.
That
was at the seaport, I think. That was crazy. Those are fun. I've done like 600 weddings. When you start missing out on stuff that your daughter does on weekends, I'm like, do I want to really be with this crowd instead of missing out on my daughter's dance recital or playing hockey with her at the rink? We used to skate there all the time.
Yeah, I think my daughter was doing that hot shot soccer, I think. Around the same time.
That stuff. I'm like, really? And sometimes you'd be like, I know these people are going to get divorced. Why am I missing out on family
a month from
time?
now,
I'm going to have to take this post down. 600 weddings later, just get burnt out a little bit.
No, you need to change, and this is certainly a step in the right direction.
I was shooting weddings since 2003. The gallery was always like the escape plan.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Was the weddings
that's like the first sort of money I was making. And I wanted to get out of corporate America. I got laid off a couple times. I'm like, I really got to figure out something out for myself. And then I was already shooting. And one of my friends, believe it or not, our first wedding was off of Craigslist. I'll never forget that. That was crazy. One of my friends' cubicle mates was getting married, Stephanie and Daryl. And she's like, do you just want to shoot my wedding? And I'm like, I leaned over I'm like, okay. And so from there, it kind of snowballed because everybody at the place I was working, Kjeld does the weddings. I'm like, I had no idea what I was doing.
That's probably the best way to,
those little opportunities that just come along at the right time. You know?
I'm like, holy cow, I think I could do this. It just kind of snowballed. It worked out. Thank God my buddy, Mike McBride, who was my boss back then, we still hang all the time. I think he knew what was going on, but I was actually editing photos for the wedding while I was at work.
Yeah.
And he would come by. We were friends.
Close the screen.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, switch the browser tabs. Oh, look, I'm checking my email. So it got to the point where I was like getting too busy with the weddings. I'm like, I think I can leave corporate America now.
Yeah.
And then start shooting the weddings. And then I did. And it was bonkers. It was so much work. I had so much more energy back then.
Kids will wear you down, right?
Oh my God. Like the wedding hangovers without drinking, like just working and like being totally like focused, looking through a camera lens for like 8 hours.
Because you got to be in everybody else's moment rather than your own. That's the whole thing with a wedding.
It was a real thing. Like the next day, I'd be like, oh my God, like I couldn't do anything. I'm like, this is ruining my weekend and the next day. And then
it's not just the wedding, the receptions afterwards, they run a long time.
Exactly.
You know, you're there for 8 hours at a time.
And then I was like, I'm the only dope leaving the wedding that's going to have more work after the wedding than any of the other vendors. Like the DJ is done.
Yeah.
He's never going to see these brides again. Never going to see anybody.
Yeah,
like,
you got to meet with them, consult with them, pick the photos they want to print out, go through the whole...
Edit the photos. And this was back before Lightroom, where you could batch edit. You could change the lighting in one shot.
And then just set it to these 5 and
this
do
was
all
like
of them
individual photos. You had to go in and tweak each one. It was like 2 weeks worth of work after the wedding.
Mm-hmm.
Then you do the hourly rate. And what am I making? Like $4 an hour after all this is said and done? So it just kind of got old. Then the iPhone came out. I remember we were shooting weddings before the iPhone came out. And when the iPhone came out, you could see sort of a drop in the interest in how important wedding photography was because everybody knew.
Everybody had a camera.
They were like,
I've seen things at weddings before too, and it's like they're encouraging you to take them.
Yeah, they put them on the table.
Guests are almost encouraged to take pictures either with Polaroids or with a hashtag thing.
Exactly. Yeah, the hashtag thing. When you see that, you're like, oh my God, this is like Uncle Bob's and the Aunt Karen's.
I remember the old Kodak disposables that they would leave on the tables.
We did that at ours, And then you got to pay like $400 to get one good shot.
They all got fingerprints.
Exactly. Yeah, they're in the bathroom and pick pictures. I remember my buddies. So we took, that's not worthy of a podcast.
Yeah, well, you can always edit out.
We took a picture of Elizabeth wants to hear.
Elizabeth Bucker's at home.
My buddy and I went in the men's room in the stall, and we only took a picture of the feet underneath the stall, and both pants were down, and they were standing like right next to each other, behind each other. I'm like, what can we do? Yeah, so that's what you're going to get when you drop these off at CVS.
Yep.
And then you're going to be put on some FBI list. Like, what kind of photos are these?
The place I worked for, we sent the photos out to be developed. I didn't have to do any of that myself.
Right. Exactly.
The old pharmacy job.
Exactly.
Are you originally from Scituate or?
No.
Are you like South Shore or?
My wife is born and raised in Marshfield.
Okay.
I'm from New Jersey.
Okay.
I met my wife in college in Bristol at Roger Williams.
Oh, okay.
And then she lives in Marshfield and I live in Jersey. I'm like, I can't make her move to New Jersey.
Yeah.
Oh, I can move to a coastal town in New England?
Yep.
See ya.
A little different.
A lot of the stuff of yours that we see is a lot of Scituate stuff.
Yeah.
Now, is that mainly because the place you used to have the space in Scituate? Are we still in Scituate, or when you cross that bridge,
We're
is
like
that when we get
20
back
feet
to
from Marshfield. I got as close to
Stone's throw.
Marshfield as I could.
Yeah.
When I moved the gallery to Scituate, I looked around. When we first opened up in the harbor, I'm like, my wife and I's first apartment was in Scituate Harbor.
Okay.
So it was right near where we opened up our gallery. And I was like, I love Marshall. We live there, but there's not, I think, as many, this is going to be controversial, as many things to photograph, iconic wise,
Yep.
like the lighthouse.
The lighthouse,
obviously.
it's in tons of your shots with the lighthouse.
I mean, the lighthouse
in the harbor.
has basically funded my business for the past 15, 14 years.
I think I've seen it from every angle that it
Exactly.
possibly can be seen. Even
Exactly.
from overhead with the drone shot, you know.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yes.
it's,
The overhead ones, when the top's missing, get the moon behind it, right?
Exactly. The top's missing now, so there's new photos, and it's going to be restored. It's going to be shiny.
Oh, is it?
Hopefully, they said finished in the next 5 or 6 months.
Oh, so 5 or 6 years from now, then.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Massachusetts time clock.
Right, and Scituate's time clock. Exactly. So it's hard for me to find as much stuff in Marshfield to photograph. I mean, there's boats, there's lobster boats, there's Green Harbor and Brant Rock. I used to live in Brant Rock. Our first house was there.
There's that tower, right? That
The
concrete
tower. Exactly. Yes, exactly. I mean, I have a lot of 4th of July photos from Brant Rock, but there's nothing really, if somebody, maybe the Dowtucket house right here on the river, that's considered Marshfield, I guess.
Yep.
There's that, but iconic wise, like lighthouse wise.
Yeah.
And this was back, Scituate Harbor had the Lucky Fin boat with the big shamrock on it.
Yeah.
I just gravitated more towards that stuff.
Yep. Is that kind of what you enjoy shooting, like being on the water?
Exactly. I
You
love.
out on a boat, or
I wish I have friends with boats, which is great.
Yep.
Most of my whale photos are taken from Chris Jordan's boat. He's the most generous dude I've ever known. He takes me out. Took me out a bunch of times. Offered to have me on the boat for a weekend tuna fishing tournament.
No kidding.
And he said the stuff I would see. He's like, it's a Serengeti out there on the Stellwagen Bank.
This is Chris Jordan, the hockey guy, too, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. His boat, the Eskimo's amazing. But I don't know
He's
if
got
I
a
could.
distinctive voice.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
He coaches my daughter.
Nice.
For
Yeah, exactly.
hockey.
Yeah, I love that shot of it feeding there.
That's from his boat.
Are you going to shoot something like that, like for a tuna tournament?
He asked
The
me,
tuna.
he's so generous in asking, and he asked the crews, Kel's going to be on the boat. You guys mind, And I just was like, I think if I was on the boat for a full weekend, I'd probably get seasick. I'm like, I don't want to be that guy.
They're not out there for an hour or two either. They're out
It's
there for days.
and they're sleeping on the boat.
Yeah,
And
because
they're
if they
taking
don't
shifts.
catch, it costs them $1,000 in fuel to go back and forth.
Exactly.
They're Stellwagen.
So I'm like, I want to do it so bad, but I don't know what the condition's going to be. If it's like
You got to go to BJ's and buy Dramamine in bulk.
exactly,
Before you go to,
and then if I'm on Dramamine, how good am I going to be taking photos?
It is great.
I was like, and I kind of regret it, but
There's always one you can come back to, right?
Easier way. Go to the docks when they're offloading the tuna. Just get them as they're
Right. Yeah. He was saying, if you're on the boat at sunrise and the sun comes up, just whales are coming by the boat or dolphins, killer whales occasionally.
Yeah, well,
there.
I watched the guys on the Wicked Tuna show and seeing
That's what I'm picturing.
They're 5 feet from the boat and the dogs are going crazy and they're like, oh, we know it's tuna here. And I'm like, what?
And then the conditions, I'm picturing if I'm out there, it's going to be 6 foot swell.
Right, exactly. You're going to get the day where it's
Exactly.
incoming tsunami, hurricane.
I'm like, Chris, if you can guarantee glass the whole weekend, that'd be great. But,
Maybe for 30 minutes. That's about it. Just shoot during that time.
I taught a class on one of his boats, on his boat, Eskimo, where we did the whale moonrise shots.
Oh, cool.
He took me out. I've always wanted to shoot whales, and I love the moonrise. I'm like, why haven't we done this? Let's do that. And we went out, and the conditions were perfect. And then we've tried to have a class 2 or 3 times after, but the conditions just didn't work out.
Yeah, because sometimes you can get that stuff that churns up, the bioluminescent stuff that comes from the whales. You get that weird, almost like northern lights glow on the water with the whales coming out of it. It's awesome because that's all the stuff they're eating. It's all the krill and all that stuff that gets churned up. Yeah,
because the ocean, it's teaching a class on a boat. It was 4 to 6 feet. So it would a nightmare.
Yeah, that's New England. You don't like the weather. Wait 5 minutes.
The one class we did, it was awesome. The whales came out at moonlight. Some people got shots of the whales below the moon, and there was a huge pod of dolphins as we were leaving to get to where we were going, following the boat. I'm like, oh, this is amazing.
I love seeing them. I take
There's some shots right there on the TV.
Oh, okay.
That's not from the class. That's the first time we ever.
But still, I love stuff like that where they're just kind of poking up out of the water and just taking a look around.
So I think you asked the 2 things I love photographing the most are storms and whales.
Yeah, and storms from land.
Exactly.
No storms from water.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's sort of why I gravitate more towards Scituate too, because when we lived in the harbor in late 90s. We got married in 97. So we were living there and we got engaged in the harbor. And then we moved to our house in Marshfield in 2000. So we were there in the late 90s. Situate's like the storm center. Yeah. All these news trucks go there. Yeah. There's always something going on. They always show clips of, I think even in the movie, The Perfect Storm, they showed Situate.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it was like Storm Central. I wound up being on the cover of the Boston Globe. A guy was taking pictures in Situate of me with my disposable CVS camera, traipsing through like 3-foot snowbank, taking pictures.
Oh, cool.
It was on the front page of the Globe. I'm like, oh, wow, that's pretty cool. So that kind of like started my like storm chasing.
Kickoff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm in the epicenter. It seems like of New England for storm chasing.
Yeah, there's nothing better than a storm during the summertime. I love watching them.
Exactly.
I was talking to Mike Sleeper once, and he had come in the day after he had made a post that he put up on Facebook, and it was just a shot from him like at the water's edge with half water, half shoreline. In the distance, just lightning strikes like crazy in the distance that you could see. And it was just a lighting change between over the water, and you just can't get that any other time.
No, and it's such a cool spot to be in, surrounded here.
Yeah, I've done a few out west too when I go out there for my family.
I haven't been yet to that. I've heard that lightning out there is
it's a whole other, that's that web crawling lightning across the sky. And you get
they last a little longer.
Yeah, the air turns like a greenish hue when they get the windstorms that come through, when you get little tornado gust ups and everything just turns green and you're like, okay, time to get inside.
Exactly.
I'm like, why? What's going on? No, we're going to pull over now. I'm like, oh, why are we under the underpass? Oh, okay.
Exactly.
That kind of stuff. So they don't even joke around out there when that stuff happens. That's there's nowhere to go.
Right. Yeah, it's all flat, right? Exactly.
So
no place to hide.
Yeah.
What are you running on a loop?
On the TV,
how many images you got in that bank?
About 900. That's running from the website. So there's those features. I use Zenfolio, and you can just hit the slideshow button and it'll loop.
Nice. I'm just looking around the space, still taking it all.
Well, that's the thing. You can look around here for an hour and you'd still be looking at something new.
Yeah, that was the goal. Like when I opened a gallery in 2008, I'm like, I didn't even know how to run a business. I was like, is there some kind of Illuminati for gallery owners to like get hazed and like
you got to go your dues before you.
Exactly. Is there some kind of club I have to be in for years?
Or can you just throw your gallery name up there and just hope for the best?
And I'm like, I think you can just rent a spot and open up a gallery.
Yeah.
That's what I did. And we're on Cole Parkway for 1 year. The next year we moved to Front Street on the opposite side. I remember the day I decided to open a gallery. I was like, this place is for rent. And I sat in the parking lot on Cole Parkway. Yeah. Cole Parkway is the big parking lot that goes to the water's edge. Mm-hmm. I counted how many cars drove by the place I wanted to rent.
Yep.
It was a busy day.
Just have the notepad out.
Exactly. It was like in an hour, there was like 200 cars that went by.
Yeah.
All right, let's rent the spot. And it worked for a year. But then I found like all those cars that drove by, parked in that parking lot, and walked to Front Street. Yeah. I'm like, okay. A lot of people saw the spot, but they didn't come in because they parked and walked to Front Street. Is where everybody walks. So then the next year, we opened up a spot on Front Street.
Yeah.
We hear that all the time. People go, oh, we drive by your business all the time up and down that road. And like, we've seen the sign. I had a guy stop in last night. He goes, do you have those turnbuckle things for the back of a frame? I'm like, that's what you stopped in here for? Okay, but let me see what we can find.
Yes.
But, it's just those random things that people happen to stop in and look and
exactly.
We get them through the door once, then they come back.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's when we always try to have like events and stuff at the store,
It makes perfect sense. Exactly.
Yeah. People are more comfortable. And
people drive by for 10 years at your spot, and then they finally come in and go, oh, that's what this is? Yeah. Exactly.
And luckily we've made enough connections with a lot of people in the area that, we can always have something going on and get help from somebody with this, or, we'll use you for this. Oh, you can run the charity thing through this while we're doing this.
Exactly.
It's all that crossover that helps.
And
like you said, when you opened it up to having the other people here in this gallery, changing everything up a little bit, I'm sure that.
The art world here on the South Shore is just...
Yeah.
Oh, we're saturated.
There's so many amazing artists out here. It's just unreal. The ocean, I think. Artists gravitate towards the ocean.
You hear New England, you think coast.
Yeah.
It's either coast during the spring or summer, or the fall and the autumn. You think of the leaves and everything changing. That's what everyone thinks of New England.
Yeah, and then there's like every medium.
Yeah, that's the thing. You're not missing anything really.
Exactly.
Here. You've got three-dimensional art. You've got photography. You've got acrylic painting.
And there's so much. I never take it for granted. Like I say, once you get comfortable shooting and you're kind of good at what you do, any day. Like right now, if we close up shop and I went out somewhere, I could probably get something that I could hang in the gallery.
Yep.
There's just so much to see in Duxbury or Hingham Harbor or Cohasset. Just the South Shore is just insane.
See, I don't get to the coast as often because I'm more Weymouth side. I'm where the old naval base used to be. It used to be another big place where people used to photograph things all the time when it was an actual active air base and stuff.
Are they doing movies out there now?
They still do shoot movies. They never opened the studio officially out there, but occasionally you'll see like this large area with like 200 box containers blocking off the field of view from everything because they're filming in that section.
Hockey rinks down there too.
They do.
Yeah,
they got the local arena. They got
I do
everything.
a lot of the event, the gala for the South Shore Hospital. They have.
Oh yes, that one where they do that setup with the tent off on the side. Yeah. Every time I drive by, I'm like, I go in again. You see the blue lights go up, and you see everything going on.
So I'm usually there photographing that.
Yeah, that's what they pretty much use that space for. The other thing is just a couple of radio flyers go out there and fly the model airplanes, but like smaller scale, but they're like full size. So you get them flying around, and you get it in front of. They still have the old weather tower,
and it looks like it's a legit.
And it looks like it's a legit plane still flying around. So it's kind of funny. You see the photographers out there with them taking pictures of that stuff too. But when I go with Dave on installs on occasion, like we went to the Harbor Masters thing when we did the 3 maps down there.
Where? In Weymouth?
That was in Marshfield.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we were down right on, like, you could see the homes. You see, like, the water rushing right up.
Oh, yeah.
rushing right up onto,
the one in Denzel's movie?
Yes, Equalizer 2. That's exactly where they filmed that. And that's what I think of every single time I see that now.
He threw the Russian guy off there.
Yes. Pedro Pascal.
That's right.
Yep. That was Pedro.
Holy cow.
Yeah, it was before Mandalorian and
That's right.
Last of
It
Us.
was Pedro. Oh, my gosh.
But yeah, that's what I think of when I see that. It's like, I'm like, I know what that's from. And I know that everybody used their homes for that shot for that area. So that's where when you were saying all about the storm shots, that's what I was thinking of was Powder Point Bridge. And when they were filming that, I'm like, it's not something I want to drive across during a storm.
What was that other Chris Pine movie?
The Coast Guard one.
Exactly.
Yes,
they did that at Powder Point.
Something Hour. Finest Hour?
Finest Hour,
yes.
Exactly. The Perfect Storm, all these movies.
And that's what people think when it's going to be storming out in the coast. That's what they think.
Yes.
On occasion, yes. But not every single time. Otherwise, it wouldn't be here.
Don't be afraid.
You've pretty much got the lighthouse covered from every angle possible, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got the wave crash. You've got this nice blue one that's over here.
I'm like almost at the point where I'm like, exactly. I loved it seeing without the top. I'm like, oh my God. For 20
like you said,
years.
that something changed. That makes it a different thing.
And then once they redo it, it won't be that greenish copper color. Yeah. It'll be shiny until it gets the patina.
Yeah, but that'd be kind of cool to actually see like a progression, like over the year kind of thing. Would be kind of neat.
If they do it in levels, I don't know if they're going to drop it on.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It'd be kind of cool to see it like change. Do like a shot from that one spot, the same spot. Like,
yes.
And do like a time progression,
Are you doing drone stuff too?
Yeah, there's some of the drone shots. I have light from above. I have Situate light from above.
Is that something you're doing a lot of?
Yes and no. I mean, drones are tricky anyway. You got to have the right conditions. Like it can't be too windy.
Can't be windy.
Exactly.
Get some nice water shots.
Yeah, exactly. So the Minute light is tricky to get to. It's a mile offshore. Yeah. My drone's older, so the battery life isn't as long.
Yeah, that's not something you want to risk.
But yes, when the drones came out, it was like a whole new.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, the top of Situate light. I'm like, that's what it looks like?
Yeah.
Top of Minute light. Photographing these
I wouldn't know that's what the top of that looked like. To me, it looks like a gazebo with
a patio table or something.
I'm like, oh, it's nice. You can go there and have a nice.
Yeah, sit picnic.
That was my favorite frame that you got in here too.
Yeah, like the copper tray. You know what's funny about that? And mine too. But, you got to go where the people pay. I'm swapping that photo out for another photo. They love the frame, but
that frame's awesome.
Yeah. There's a copper planter tray.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I purposely put that photo of the lighthouse in there because of the copper of the lighthouse.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a picture of Nantucket waves at sunset.
Yeah.
Similar colors, but they love the frame.
The floaters are great for that. They make it feel so much more open without it.
So Kjeld turns a lot of these things into frames. So.
Yeah, exactly. That piece there is scrap wood from Birch Barn.
That's awesome. I love that one.
They put it on Instagram. They're like, first one to come gets it. I'm like, oh, a pile of scrap wood from Birch Barn.
Yeah, even just having this metal one set on top of this.
Yeah, old
door.
Exactly.
It looks great.
Yeah, that's like very similar to the one that I have of yours at my house, but only it's on a horizontal.
I'd love to see. Send me a picture of it.
Yeah,
I love seeing the old stuff. I might have a picture of it ready, but I'm not sure which one.
Yeah, but it's like the same idea. It's on like heavier standoffs and it's a horizontal, but like same type of thing, like maybe like some sort of cabinet door.
Nice.
Some of these other ones are pretty interesting too. Like
the reclaimed wood and everything is always.
I'm looking at stuff now. Exactly. Like if I see something, I'm like, how can I get a print on
It's
that?
part of the art.
Exactly.
It's part of the
That's
whole.
one of the things that that's one of a kind now. People can have the same print, but with that mounting, it becomes one of a kind.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
But even this one here with this, modern trim cuts on there and the open feeling and the.
And that was sort of a happy accident because I didn't have enough of that scrap wood wouldn't reach around to finish the frame. So I'm like.
What is that, printed on birch wood too or like maple?
Maple.
Maple?
Yeah.
Nice.
So I just cut it at a 45 at the two corners.
Yeah.
It kind of looks cool.
Gives it a little personality, a unique flavor to them. Which is.
And you do all the woodwork stuff and sticking them,
Yes.
Do you do that all here or do that?
No, I did it at home.
When I bought that piece from you, it seemed like you had like a backspace you had set up as like it was kind of like a workshop. But
then it was like controlling the dust.
Oh, God, yeah.
Much. And then the noise. I'm like, I don't want to be the walls between the toy store and the lady who worked at Wishbones.
Yeah.
So I did. I was trying to get away with it as much as I could there. It's better to have it all in one shop.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'd have a tool there and this stuff is at home. So I just do it all in the same spot.
Is that something you were involved in before, like just like woodworking stuff, or is that just something
not
you
really.
picked up to just try to figure out a way to make the?
I mean, I'm not by no means am I like anywhere near like a craftsman, but I have enough. What do they say? Like have enough knowledge
General
to be
knowledge.
dangerous.
Yep, exactly.
Exactly.
So I push this button and pull this here.
Wait,
okay,
If I pull down on this, it'll cut this wood. You know, I've always loved driftwood, and I've always tried to make frames out of driftwood, but it's so tricky.
You got to have the right pieces just to line up.
Exactly.
Even seeing people try to make the larger stump type pieces and make like a table or something, a piece of glass across the top of it.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not made to be flat. It wants to wobble.
Exactly.
It's not gonna,
so it's a learning curve, and just kind of wing it.
Yeah. I love the way the photos look, like with that mount onto the
metal
surfaces.
prints. Yeah,
they just
probably my favorite medium to print on is metal.
Like it makes the water really
especially anything that shimmers.
Yeah, like that long, tall one you've got right there. That one with the water on it. Again, it just looks so reflective.
And the metals come in 6 different finishes, from full gloss to satin, so you can.
Almost too many options for customers.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, you want the one or two. Yeah.
It's like when we start going to like, do you want conservation clear? Do you want non-clear? Reflection control?
What do you
museum
mean?
glass? AR glass? What do you prefer? And the glazed look comes over their eyes and they're like,
what do you think?
But yeah, it all depends on what you're trying to do with the picture.
Right. So that's where like experience in printing, seeing certain images on certain mediums.
Mm-hmm. Having them up in a gallery space like this, having them set on a wall instead of having them just photographs on a computer screen.
Yes.
It's always different seeing them in a dimension.
When we opened the gallery, I was like, I probably could do this all online, but
which is fine.
People
but it's not,
need to.
Yeah, they want to see it.
See the size. Like nobody knows what a 16 by 20 is compared to a 24 by 36. Or
well, look at the shadow cast you get underneath that.
Exactly.
Like something like that's going to affect how it is on your wall at home. The flat 2-dimensional image you see on the screen doesn't give you any dimensionality out of it. Exactly. So.
And the texture, metals are impossible to showcase online. The reflections are like, you can't showcase that. You have to be in the room and move around it and see what it looks like.
Yeah, same thing with the high gloss frames. That just looks like a super bright white frame.
Right.
And then trying to film it though, or shoot it without getting lens flare or getting a spotlight in one spot, it's like nearly impossible. Like
white booth.
Yeah.
Like just
and
your camera lens poking through a hole.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's very, very difficult.
The gallery is it's rare that people will come in and buy something off the wall. Mm-hmm. Unless it's like a custom piece that's one of a kind. But it's more like a showroom.
Yep.
Like, this is what a 60 by 40 is. And this is what the canvas looks like. Now, can I get this picture in like 55 by 32?
Yeah.
So it's more that.
Yeah. It's the selling point, I think, that seeing it like this. And I like that it's on the white walls too, with the reverse with the pine ceiling.
Yeah. We were going to do something with the ceiling. We were going to pickle it or like whitewash it. But
I think it's a nice just contrast with it because it's usually the other way around. It's the white ceiling with something on the wall. So it's a nice flip, which is great.
Were you involved in
doing any work? No. I said, this is what I want. Yeah. Like, what size window? Like, where are the doors?
Yeah.
And then he had his guys build it out.
Yeah.
And they cranked it out. This floor, I got work local. Beth Wynn. I was involved with them at the point. I think we were renting space maybe from them. And I'm like, who did your floor? And it's a place in Marshfield. And we got the same exact floor.
Yep.
It's just right over the cement. It's waterproof.
Yeah. You get so many different variations of it now. It's great. Yeah. But it's got that nice coastal gray weathered feel to it. So you've got it across the board. You've got all the coastal tones.
The goal was kind of Nantucket-ish.
Yeah, well, I mean, you have a majority of blue in a lot of your pieces here, blues, blue grays. Right. So you're in that cooler tone of things, and that's coastal. So having it on the white really makes it pop, especially the metal ones or this Becky's one that's the dark black.
Yeah, and then we did the accent wall. My friend Danielle Driscoll, who just did some frames for it. She suggested, and I was like, yeah, if you say so.
Does she share stuff with you on occasion too? Or?
She did. Her and her son, John, had some artwork here, but now I think she's like pretty much crushing it online.
Yeah, she seems like she does pretty well.
Yeah, and she's doing wholesale now, which is awesome. But she suggested the black accent wall.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
A lot of people think black's going to be so dark and like so depressing. I'm like, no, it's actually,
awesome.
It allows like vibrant colors and things to really jump off it. Like just looking at this aqua green and,
against the
gold copper against the black really would stand out, I think, more than against the white. It's one of those things that I come up with people all the time. They're like, oh, I want to do something that not one of these colors, but the white's a little much. I'm like, what about black? They're like, oh, it's going to be heavy. I'm like, no, it's not really going to be heavy. It's going to just make it actually change the dimensionality feeling of the picture. It's going to make it feel either a little more compact. White opens up, black makes you feel a little more pulled into. So if you want depth, black is a great way to go.
It's almost like you're focused more on the image.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's a lot of little things like that you just pick up over time knowing. People shouldn't be afraid of being able to play around with colors. Find out. If you don't like it, you can always change it. It's a very easy thing to change.
Yes.
But, you always paint the wall a different color.
Exactly. Yeah.
A nice plum.
Do it in Photoshop first. Yeah.
That's the thing nowadays, too. You can do a lot of those camera programs will have a thing where you can load up the Home Depot app and take a snapshot.
And put it on what color wall is it?
Put the bare color wall you want on there and then just put your picture in there and see how it looks.
I've been doing that a lot. Having that skill set, now there's apps that do it, but being able to tell clients, somebody came in earlier today and I said, send me a picture of the wall and a measurement. In Photoshop, I'll put stuff up that I think works.
That's a great way of seeing it in the space.
Yeah.
There's even like the ones where you like, I wanted to buy a driftwood or like a barnwood entertainment center for a room just because we just redid everything with floor similar to this. So I wanted something like that against a pale gray wall. And like it actually lets you like drop the actual thing in a 3-dimensional space to see it in there.
It's crazy.
It's what we can do now with all this stuff. You don't even have to go there. Even put shadows on the floor.
Yeah, exactly. I'm thinking the next show after maybe the botanical show will be AI. Just go to the website and click in what kind of art you want and then print it out and we'll hang it up.
Yeah. We played around with it one time where we went around and did the 360 panoramic. Like we just went around to different key points in our gallery space upstairs.
And what it do?
And you just take a shot from there. It takes a 360. So people just go to this dot and now you're standing in front of this piece, but I want to see it from an angle.
Yeah,
so look left or right.
It's crazy,
you could do.
Yeah, we had Brian Doherty.
That's right. I remember I saw that and asked him if he could do that for the gallery after.
Yeah, I wanted to do I still in my head want to come up with the way to use that space upstairs is so you can be like our virtual gallery.
Right. For people who aren't in the local area.
Yeah, that or just to get a heads up and to see stuff and you push it out on social media and people can look at it and then they come in to see it.
I mean, I've done the VR tours of the Louvre and things like that just to go and see it. And basically it's just a guy with a camera just walking around and he stands in front of a certain piece for so long. And then while you're in that space, I can do this and I can follow wherever I want to go.
It's like the Google cars.
Exactly. Same idea. Same idea. Google Earth.
I'd seen Brian's the home tours of these nice, unbelievable homes.
I forgot the word.
Yeah, it's like a virtual tour or something.
Yeah. But it's zoom into the room, turn around and look, zoom out. Yeah.
That seemed like the way to go, but we're still trying different things.
You gotta play around with it.
Exactly.
Tried just walking through with the camera too.
And then you can also, I think, if you see something on the wall, you can click on it and buy it.
Yes.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, they do. They have the little AI tags. Pops up almost like a mini QR code.
Right.
Type idea where you click on it and it actually comes off and you can store it to look at later and that kind of
It's funny though. Like we opened the gallery, thought about opening it before smartphones were huge.
Yes.
And that was if you look at stuff online on your computer, now you're looking at stuff like, how do you showcase a 40x60 on your phone? How do you get the sense of scale? Yeah.
And that's the thing without somebody else that you know or something else being in it. That's why when they were do crime scene shots, put down the dollar bill.
Oh, exactly.
Put a quarter dollar bill. Yeah. Exactly. It gives you a sense of, how because everyone knows it's a common thing.
Exactly.
Without having to put a tape measure on your wall.
It's funny you say that. This could have gone sideways. I almost took a job as a crime scene photographer.
Really?
I got offered it. I applied for it. Then I'm like,
do I really want to see that kind of stuff?
Once they said, are you really sure about what you're going to see and do? I'm like, no, once they really said, you might see this or you might see that. Or I'm like,
okay. Second thought. It's great on Law and Order. It's another.
Exactly. Yeah.
The weddings and the magazine works probably.
That's enough chaos for you.
Exactly.
The magazine stuff, South Shore Home. Are you doing regular work for some of the other magazines?
Hingham Magazine, I shot. That's, I think, right now just a yearly or.
Yeah.
Maria, Alan, and Jane for the magazine are great. I love working with them and shooting for them. I do a lot of restaurants.
Done a door opener too? You go on feature something and then they need more stuff?
Yeah. And I do a lot of food shots for advertisements for the magazine.
Yeah.
There you go.
Not only just for the magazine, but the restaurants want good photos so they can put an ad in the magazine.
Yeah.
You get to eat the food afterwards?
Yes.
Oh, darn.
Yeah, exactly. I do a lot for Orta, Brett and Kara's restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, whatever you want to take. But some restaurants are like, no, that's not cooked fully. Don't eat that scalp.
I got a good sear on it, but it's not fully cooked all the way through. Right. Yeah, needs 5 minutes in the oven.
How rushed they were. We just did one not too long ago for Cask and Flag in the Marshall.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
We did all the frames in there.
Yeah,
that was a project.
This was a project too. They had
nice guys.
Their menu is insane and huge. I thought it was gonna be like an all-day thing. They cranked out every dish they had in an hour. I had like 3 tables. They have like
the stooled ones in the back.
Exactly.
That's where I sit with my family most of the time.
They had like 4 of those filled. And I'm like, I got to move. Food's getting cold. That'd
be a great show in itself. Just seeing these are all the options.
Exactly. It was pretty cool. I walked with the iPhone around.
Yeah.
Like, holy cow. It must have been like 50, 60 dishes.
That was the first place I found for my kid that they actually had like a ramen bowl in the menu. He's psyched. It's like this giant like bowl. He always takes it home. We've eaten there on several occasions. I didn't know we did the framing for that place.
Yeah, it's a small one. I think the connection came because I photographed a wedding of the girl who hired me to photograph. She's the manager there. I photographed her wedding way back.
Yeah, and they just go, I know a guy.
I know a guy.
Yeah, no, we did some stuff for them with the place in Boston. And then they were opening up, and I sent a couple emails off. And
nice.
I didn't think anything was ever going to come of it because it was getting too close to the opening date. And then it was like, we didn't need all these frames, and we're going to need them in a couple weeks.
Can you do it for tomorrow?
Yeah. That was a fun one going in there and
all the sports.
With them. And some of the stuff that they saw. We actually, the collection of images they used, I ended up buying some of those too and selling a few of those.
Cool.
The Brearley collection or something like that. I don't know. They were all like the old images. I think that they might have all come from like scans on those glass negatives too.
Very cool.
Yeah. Just like old, cool historical images.
Yeah. That stuff is awesome. I wanted to figure out a way to get some of that stuff in here somehow, but it's hard to find who owns the rights. And some of the old historic stuff is pretty cool.
They had the Bobby Orr. But I'll see if I can dig up some of this stuff. But I feel like there was like a collection and it was like 2 brothers. They had to come and give me images so that I could put them into frames. Yeah. But then I feel like they sold the collection of images too.
So cool.
Yeah, it was interesting. Those ones are great. Like those old black and white photographs and like all the stuff that's wrong with, sepia tone ones. They just look awesome.
And how delicate they are.
The
still
aging,
around.
the patina,
exactly.
the little,
I was like talking earlier too about the stories behind those things are like just interesting. Like every piece in here probably has a story.
One of the things I remember, I didn't know owning a gallery, people love talking to me about the stories behind the photos. One time we went away for 2 weeks on vacation. We were in the harbor. It was over summer. It was like our busiest 2 weeks during Heritage Days. So August. Usually we crush it those 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We went away to the Pacific Northwest and it was amazing.
That's nice.
We hired 2 people to work at the gallery and we didn't have one sale. I'm like, oh my gosh. Came back like, not only do we have to pay the people that work there, we didn't make any sales. Immediately, like when I came back, sales kicked in because people like coming in and talking
to the person who did the photography or knows the person who has the stuff on the wall, which we find quite often. Like we had a woman in Mimi Walsh was in the other day, and she's a local designer. But Joanne, her sister was in with pieces to get framed up for something, and she went right over and they started talking back and forth and talking about like how her sister had all this stuff, how they had done the show for her after she passed. And people are still to this day bringing in pieces that they bought from that show. We get them in once a week and it's like you can instantly tell who the artwork is just by looking, not even at the signature, just the style, the way that was done. And that's something nice. And a lot of people want to hear behind those things. Every time someone walks in and sees the Mike Sleeper on the wall, they want to know where that was, when it was shot. So I've got like a whole list of things I know about the pieces that come in because people want to know. And that's what this whole thing was about, was to get the artists on so that people get a feeling for
hearing like how their head gets wrapped around what they're creating.
So we want to eventually, when we get a nice big group of these all together, we're going to run and make a nice continuous loop that we can run upstairs of just the different voices of the different artists that we have, just to, again, the voices of the South Shore basically for art. And that's kind of the idea of that. With this whole process.
That'll be a big loop.
It will. Well, that's the thing. We're open for a long time. So.
Exactly.
Maybe if it goes for 2 days and I don't hit the pause button, it'd be great.
We, on our honeymoon, we went to Italy in like 2001. We bought this print. It was huge. The Pharaoh's horses. It was like a graphite drawing of the close-up of 3 horses. And it was the Pharaoh who was chasing Moses.
Oh, okay. Ramses,
Through the parting, Ramses. Through the parting of the Red Sea. And it was like the horses, just their faces, right before, I think the
water crashed in. Yeah. So after the pillar of fire. Yeah.
And it's such a cool image. And my wife and I bought it in Italy. Not much. It was rolled up and it made it home okay. And then we had you guys frame it. It's huge. It's one of our favorite pieces in the house.
Oh, there you go. There's our question for you. What's on your wall question?
Probably like 60 wide, 60 square.
Oh, wow. So
50 or
it's
60
a decent
square.
size then.
Yeah. Right in our living room.
That's awesome. Yeah. You just answered one of our questions. What's one of your favorite pieces on the wall? And there you go.
Yeah, that's one of them. And I remember picking out the frame and making sure that actually the print. It was on really nice watercolor paper or whatever.
The heavy rag kind of?
Yeah. But it got rolled up, but I think it got scuffed somehow and there was like a mark on it. So the bottom part of the mat, you guys raised it up a little bit to cover it.
So that it was like,
exactly.
Do
you have much of your own stuff hanging on the wall?
No. People say that all the time. Your house must look like a gallery. I'm like, no. Sometimes, if I get something for the house and hang it up, I'm like, I really like that. That should be on sale. Like I could probably sell that. Why do I have it here?
Yeah.
So no, my wife did all the painting downstairs and we did an accent wall where our fireplace is.
That's a nice touch. Yeah.
She's like, we really need a piece of yours above the mantle.
Feels weird sometimes having your own pieces put up,
Right.
Like,
maybe not something I would sell. Maybe something from a family vacation trip.
A more personal thing.
Exactly.
It's different than if it's one of the whale shots or something.
Right.
It's not why you did the shots. You did the shots for the experience and then for the gallery.
Right.
To have it up at home and it just feels a little like off.
Yes.
And I feel the same thing about putting my own stuff up, but it's like after a while I run out of floor space and I have to put it up on the wall. The hallway gets a little tight after a while if everything leaning up against the wall.
I mean, the house is filled with pictures of my daughter.
Yeah.
But nothing scenic really.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You've got the photography for having all those pictures, which is great.
Yeah, she'll have plenty of pictures to show at her wedding.
Yeah. She's been photographed
many times.
You got the slideshow down, so you can get those up and just have them.
Yeah, there's actually one shot, what led to a great gig I shoot for Milton Academy.
Oh, okay.
It's such a cool gig because Greg, who hired me, he's like, just walk around campus and get whatever's going on. It's like there's no schedule.
Yeah, just
whatever's going on. But I took a picture of my daughter during a play date. My daughter and his daughter were playing out in the yard. I'm like, I should get some pictures for the whites to check out. And I took some pictures and sent it to him. He's like, these are really good. I'm like, I wasn't thinking that. I'm like, these are great pictures. He's like, do you do this? I'm like, I do. And then it just led to a gig that has been ongoing. I'm like,
nice.
It's so funny how, like you said, it started off as a cubicle thing and then
exactly.
went from there.
Yeah.
You never know where it's going to lead you the next thing.
Exactly.
Maybe this will be the next one.
Yeah. Right. Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Look at this podcast, dude.
Yeah.
Spotify. Come on.
Yeah.
This will be on there. This will be on Spotify.
Nice.
It'll be on everything. It'll be on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, YouTube. It'll be all up.
So if people want to get into the gallery.
Yeah. So the hours are, my weekend is Monday and Tuesday. So we're closed.
It's a good idea. Yeah. That way you're open during the hours that people are off, which is the good thing,
We're closed Mondays and Tuesdays and open Wednesday. Now that the weather's getting better and spring's around the corner, we're open Wednesday through Sunday, 12 to 4. I say 12 to 4 because that's when I'm always usually here unless I have a commercial shoot or something. Yep. But I'll probably be here earlier and later, but always 12 to 4.
Yeah. And then you do like your editing from your commercial jobs here?
I do, yeah.
So it seems like you have a nice setup in the back.
Yep. If it's a slow day or crappy out, I'll do a lot of editing here.
People that want to contact you about commercial jobs, they just get you through the site, sign up for classes. Is that
it's all through the website. There's the Facebook page, Instagram. There's so many ways. Yeah, it's almost like I wish there was just one place to funnel it all. There's so many ways to get into
right?
Yeah.
Is that what's that thing called?
What is it?
Like tree.
Oh, and it funnels it into one. Yeah. I'll look into that. Yeah, because I mean, Instagram, there's like 10 ways. There's primary, there's general, there's like another third one that's requested or something like, and I'm like, I'll go in there and dig deep. Somebody will be like, oh, I want to buy a huge print. And it was like a month ago. I'm like,
You're still looking for that print?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I have the same problem with the voicemails at the store.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Or unless you hear the little beep beep on the phone, you don't always realize there's actually somebody on there. So it's a little tough. Luckily, people have been a lot better with doing the messaging through Facebook Messenger or Instagram.
Yeah.
And
I'm waiting for somebody to sort of invent an Apple to do something with texting and organizing, like an email program for text. Texting is a way to go now.
We started doing it at the store to contact customers when their orders are ready. A 2-second text to let somebody know that their order's done.
Just type in an email and hit send. And
so many people ignore phone calls because they don't recognize the number. They don't want to listen to it. And emails are coming kind of outdated. It takes a while to log in.
Usually I'll send an email and then follow up with a text.
Exactly. So
did you get the email?
Exactly. I've done several orders with the customers via text message because they can't come in. They don't have time to be on the phone all the time, but they can send me a quick thing in 3 minutes of free time they have. I might not be free, but then at least I have the
and then I
stuff
just
to work
heard
off of.
Venmo, now you can pay for Starbucks.
Oh, God.
Right? How does that work? I thought Venmo was like on the
interpersonal, like
right. I thought it was like
just exchanging money between people, not businesses as well.
But accepting sales.
I guess that's their next step, logical step for them. But
awesome.
Well, if anybody wants to find the gallery, it's at 83 Chief Justice Cushing Highway in Scituate.
Right on 3A, in between Rote Marine and Oro and the Circle down there. Yeah.
So lots of stuff to be down here for this area.
In events, mostly get it out there on social media when you're doing the events.
Yes, and the shows. And Kennedy's, we try to cross-pollinate with Kennedy's is having a plant swap coming up. So I'll post about that, and hopefully, like when I do stuff,
well, let us know when you get stuff going on, because we'll put it up on our calendar,
great.
get it up for any kind of postings we can do. We'll blast it on the social medias, right?
Fantastic.
Well, I think it was a blast coming by here. I'm glad I finally got into the space. I think that if we get a chance, maybe we'll take a trip back. We can get in depth on like a couple of the pieces and maybe tell some of those stories.
Do a little walkthrough.
That'd be cool. Exactly. That'd be cool. And I'm also entertaining the thought of, I'm just a lowly guy with a gallery. Michael Coyne is amazing. Sergio Rofa. A gallery takeover or something.
Yeah.
Like just have them come and hang their stuff up for a weekend.
There you go. Yeah.
It'd have to be worthwhile, but stuff like that.
Yeah, we're always kicking
They all
around
have quite a
ideas.
following.
Exactly.
Just different guys.
Exactly.
So I'll
Spitballing
definitely
stuff for
spit some
art.
ideas out.
And I remember Mike, when he had this space in the harbor, he was doing some funky things. We did like out of the box, like if you're an artist, do something that you don't normally
do,
are known for. And that was super cool.
Mm-hmm. Definitely kick some ideas around. Definitely get back over here. Now we've gotten through the door the first time. So
exactly. And when it's nice out, we can use the patio.
Yeah. We can do the walkthrough with the mobile setup and go through and actually discuss some different things. So it'd be great.
Well, thanks for having us, Kjeld. Thanks for being
always
the trial case for the podcast.
On the road.
The first show on the road. One here.
I was waiting for like Guy Fieri to show up or something. Yeah.
It's not warm enough yet. I'll get my bowling shirts and I'll frost the tips later on. But,
Exactly.
I got the ring on. It'll be fine. Yeah. Well, everybody, I want to thank you for listening for us today, and we'll see you next time.
Nice.
All right. See ya.
Thank you.